independently wealthy using a few well-tested, proven techniques, which will put you on the road to achieving your financial independence. It takes little or no money, requires no credit, and anyone can do it in their spare time. Just a few hours a month, that's all it takes. Stay tuned. Learn how to profit at U.S. government auctions of cars, boats, planes, jewelry, electronics, and other valuable personal property and real estate. And you can start right away.
Everyone comes to a point in their life where they either keep going down the same path they've always gone on, or they choose a new path, which can improve their way of life. They can continue, of course, on making the same amount of money that they've made month after month, or they can do something different. That's what I'm trying to offer you here today. You can invest just a little bit of money and a little bit of time and make much more money in the months to come than you've ever done with my system. When you find out how easy it is to use my system, you'll wish you heard about it months ago. When you receive my course, this is what you're going to receive. This is the government auction package. It's very, very simple. This is the easiest method that you could ever find to make a lot of money to get you out of the situation you're in right now. You can start buying beautiful cars like myself. I got a Lamborghini Diablo through this government auction package. I got a Rolls-Royce Corniche through this government auction package. What that does for me is this. It shows me freedom. It gives me an opportunity to purchase these things at little advertised government auctions. I got with Mr. Steve Steiner. We worked together on this, and what we did was we came up with the smallest places where only a few people are at. Of course, anybody says an auction, you think of hundreds of people showing up. I'm talking about taking you to an auction where you see 3 people. How are you going to like that? And we're going to get wonderful, wonderful items at that auction. You're going to be able to pick up some fantastic things for pennies on the dollar, but only when you learn what I've learned, which has taken years and years of Mr. Steiner's time to perfect these methods. And he has taught them to me and showed me to get beautiful things, and now I'm trying to teach you how you can better your life. But not only am I going to better your life, I'm going to do something more importantly than that. I'm going to back you up. And in this agreement, it shows that I'm going to be there 100% to back you up. It shows in writing my name and your name. We're on a contract. When you find these deals, you fill out the contract, you send it to me, you got my signature, which means I am bound to you for my money to do the deal.
William Joseph McCorkle, born 1966 in San Antonio, Texas, is a man who, do I have to be all dramatic about it? He's another friggin' infomercial scammer, without question, and it's another real estate one, actually. McCorkle, born Gonzalez before he took the last name of his stepfather, wound up making a significant amount of money off of his infomercial schemes, where he showed his wealth. Obviously, all these fast cars and private planes and yachts, and oh my goodness, this guy's just rocking it at the real estate business, and he's gonna teach you how to do it too, because as we all know, whenever you become successful in a business, whenever you strike it rich in a market, the first thing you should do is create a whole bunch of competitors. Yeah, that makes logical sense if you don't think about it at all. I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it, I've lost count how many times. If there's some kind of guru, whether it's on a commercial or nowadays it's usually online,
here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here,
telling you that they're gonna show you how to make all this friggin' money, they're lying to you, because that's not how the business world works, okay? You know how they're making their money? It's off of you, but anyway, more to the point, McCorkle obviously didn't start out as a scammer. He would attend Bishop Moore High School in Orlando, Florida, and graduate in 1984, and after that he wound up working a whole bunch of different jobs, which included both bussing tables and exotic dancing. Hey, I'm not judging. You gotta make your money somehow. I get you. But after that, he started turning to real estate. And by turning to real estate, I mean he started telling people that he was an expert in real estate and he was going to teach them how to make a whole bunch of money in real estate. McCorkle wasn't alone here. Tommy Vu did the same thing, and to be honest, McCorkle's whole thing is alarmingly similar to Vu. It's nearly the same scam. Except in McCorkle's case, he promised, well, 2 main scams were going on here. The first one was how to get a hold of bargain real estate. He called it the bargain real estate technique. You gotta get this real estate for a bargain, and then sell it for a profit. And on paper, yeah, get something for cheap and then sell it for more money later. Sure, isn't that like house flipping? Well, yeah, but of course you weren't flipping anything. You were just getting really cheap real estate and then selling it for even more money. The other technique had to do with government auctions, namely drug seizures. There's a lot of times where the government, the feds, will crack down on some kind of drug operation, and they'll wind up seizing a whole bunch of assets related to it. And in Hollywood, we see drug kingpins having all these private planes and all these fast cars, and McCorkle was like, oh yeah, that happens all the time, and the government just sells it all off for next to nothing. Just go to the auction and you'll get like a Ferrari for like, I don't know, $20. Something like that, whatever. Anyway, it's great. It's a great idea. I promise this totally works.
Lamborghini.
He and his wife were actually in a bit of a Bonnie and Clyde situation regarding the scheme, as she was heavily involved in the planning and execution of the whole deal. Her name was Chantal, and she was occasionally in the commercials, basically being a pretty lady. And don't worry, he is actual proof that his techniques work, because he has all these people that have attended his seminars. Yes, this is about a stupid seminar, just like Tommy Vu again, where you pay for it, and then you just start making money. All you gotta do is pay McCorkle first, and then you'll make money. That makes sense. Yep. We promise.
Lamborghini.
It worked for me, it'll work for you. Yeah, this is all a bunch of hogwash. In fact, basically everything about these commercials was completely fake. Now, McCorkle did actually have a seminar where he would teach these techniques. But for one thing, the techniques he was pushing don't really generally work, at least not nearly as often as he was suggesting. It's true that if you stumble upon a deal on real estate, you could buy it and turn it around and make a profit off of the sale, but that requires you to find a deal on real estate, and that's actually really, really hard to do, because most people that own property aren't gonna sell it for less than what it's worth. It's as simple as that. Does it happen? Sure, but not often enough for all these people attending a seminar to capitalize on it. That's not happening. And as for the government auctions, well, those certainly can happen, yeah, but a lot of the stuff that's sold off isn't really worth hardly anything, which is why the government's getting rid of it. And if it is worth something, the government's usually going to try to get their money's worth out of it. McCorkle implies that a lot of the government auctions will sell things off for a steal, but let's say hypothetically one of these auctions was auctioning off a Ferrari. The starting bid on the Ferrari is going to be pretty darn close to what a Ferrari actually goes for, and that's assuming there's a Ferrari there at all. I mean, let's say they seize the assets of a regular drug dealer. Listen, let's be fair about this. I don't know if you knew that kid in high school, but most drug dealers drive something like a Volkswagen Jetta and smoke exclusively Newports, alright? That's kind of the aesthetic we're rolling with. Not every drug kingpin is necessarily frickin' Pablo Escobar. And busts on guys like Escobar don't happen every day or even every year. There really wasn't that much of this high-tier property being sold off for a steal, as McCorkle would, of course, suggest. But darkness! Look at the commercials! He's got these big houses and these cars. He's even got helicopters and planes and boats with his name on them! I mean, obviously he's fabulously wealthy. Well, you might be saying, oh, well, is he just using the money from the seminar to pay for all that? Well, probably. But he also didn't even own any of this stuff. Basically, everything you see in the commercial was leased, not bought. He didn't own any of it. He leased them specifically for the commercials and then got rid of them because even he, in his scammy nature, wasn't able to afford all this nonsense. And the others who appeared in the commercials insisting that McCorkle was the reason they became rich, yeah, those were all paid actors. None of them were actually attendees of the seminars. And most suspiciously of all, McCorkle and his wife lived in Orlando, Florida, but most of the money they made from the seminars, as well as legitimate real estate deals, was transferred to a bank account in the Cayman Islands. Interesting. Oh, on top of that, he had filed for personal bankruptcy at the time the commercials were being made. He didn't have any money, and all the money he did make off the scam was sent out of the country in order to avoid, being looked at. And this might be the biggest difference between him and Tommy Vu. Remember, Vu totally got away with his scam. Partially because, technically speaking, a lot of his advice wasn't wrong, it was just impossible to implement properly, and not everyone was going to be able to do it. But also, he quit before the hammer came down, and it could be proven that he ever did anything outright illegal. McCorkle wasn't nearly this intelligent. He and his wife continued until the feds finally caught up with them, hilariously seizing a lot of their own assets, likely to sell at government auctions. Also, they were both charged on about, 85 counts, including fraud, conspiracy, obtaining a credit card and a social security number under false pretenses, as well as laundering millions of dollars into their offshore bank accounts. The content of the advertisements was a big part of the criminal proceedings because one of the things McCorkle made a mistake of promising was that he would put up his own money for customers who found property close to foreclosure or depressed property for sale at half its equity. He'd pay for it. Yeah, he's a great guy like that. Well, McCorkle basically never did that, and out of the thousands of people that bought into the scam, less than 15 actually brokered any deals at all. The commercials also promised that a staff of more than 400 people in McCorkle's employ would actually help them get their start in real estate and work with them to help broker the deals at no cost to them, because that makes total sense, obviously. And, to be fair, there were people doing that, but it was not 400, it was 6. So basically they weren't doing anything. And customers who wound up realizing they were scammed and demanded refunds were often stalled on actually getting those refunds, eventually just giving up in frustration, as some tend to do. They were in a lot of trouble, and both husband and wife were found guilty after a 2-month jury trial. Reportedly, McCorkle himself collapsed when the jury pronounced him guilty, and he had to be taken to the hospital like a big friggin' baby. You're the one who asked for this. You're a scammer. Don't start looking for sympathy here, Will. You won't find it. Under mandatory sentencing laws, take into account all their charges, they were sentenced to over 24 years in federal prison, though they appealed the sentence twice, resulting in a reduced sentence on March 14th, 2006 to 18 years. So still quite a bit of time. Oh, and following the conviction as well as the incarceration, Chantal would wind up divorcing William. So I guess she wasn't nearly as ride or die as you might have thought. Also, interestingly, in terms of her sentence was somewhat controversial because Chantal wasn't actually an American citizen. She was British, and her sentence drew attention from the UK's media because, well, she wasn't an American, and some felt that she should be handled on the British end of things due to her citizenship. Some representatives over in Parliament pointed out that in the UK, that would only be a suspended sentence. Why are you giving her so much time for this? And we were like, she scammed millions of dollars from our people. Shut up. Which is basically how the interaction went for a while, because frankly, we did not give her back to them for years. She applied for a transfer to a British prison multiple times, and we kept saying no. That was until May of 2009, when she was transferred over to HM Prison Holloway in London. She then went to HM Prison Send in Surrey, and then HM Prison East Sutton Park, before finally being released in 2010. As of that year, she was living back in the UK, which was likely part of her motivation to divorce from her husband. I couldn't find any information regarding exactly where William McCorkle is, though he's been pretty quiet and hasn't attempted any scams that I know of since, because the whole thing was completely ridiculous, and he bit off way more than he could chew. He just kept going, kept scamming, gotta keep it up until, well, hey, are you laundering that money? Oh, the IRS hates that. See, you messed with the wrong people, my guy. You took all the pages out of Tommy Vu's book, but you didn't take the part where he got away with it. Like, how he got away with it. Once you make a cool million, you're supposed to pull the plug, okay? You're not supposed to keep it going, and you're definitely not supposed to launder the friggin' money. And yet, you did. and yet stayed in prison for a while and got a divorce. Top tier work.
Lamborghini,
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 Lamborghini.
And with that, a special thank you goes out to all my underwater train finders, Some Dude 267, Benjamin Owens, and Zach A1, Jack Carson's Road Videos, Lord Off 444, Iser for 1405, Charles Kwiatkowski, Matt Weaver, Tom Redline, Ennis Product 84, Will Jack 8401, Rescues Greyhounds, Josh Johnson, Caleb Brain Waters, Perez Drenton, Master of None, Travis Dolinsky, JBL Explorers, Tommy Rossini, Ben McCullough, Panzer Kitsune 131-232, Mark Holding, Mr. Terevel, Hayden DeGrow, Kurt Forkum, Harry, Drew Debris, George Kenny, Kevin Wood, Hendrick Motorsports Fan 5, Hannah Burr, Der Roushi, William Nemo, Dr. Racist 78, Shimasu, Metal for Life Guy, Andrew Bowen, Crimson Rose, Ryan Wehofer, Zintek M. Bosque, Orange Glass, Andy, Ohio Trucker 1, Windy City Rails, John Videola, Extra Special J, Bob Condirk, Jared Brussel, Daryl Williams, DE Ultra, Connor Hahn, Brian Philly, Nathaniel Brown, Liam Wright, Mr. Sleepy, NJ1969, Rashad Austin, Westmost, DFL Church, Profound Punk, The Baxter, Jonathan Coco, Murder Drone Stall, Bad Trade Puns Are Best, Raymond Zabo, AET Museum, Arthur Roy, Caleb Crosswhite, and of course, my dad. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fun farewell.